Welcome to On the Chain.
George Gammon is one of those people who really brings it all on a lot of different fronts. First of all, on the financial front, if you ever watch his whiteboard presentations, they're legendary. They're phenomenal. But also, too, the geopolitical stuff is so on point. He's probably one of the best people you'll enjoy following on Twitter. And you might not agree with everything he says. I agree with almost everything he says, pretty much, almost spot on. And it was really refreshing to see this series of tweets from him. And he put this out. And here, I'll tell you, we got to get him on the show, Jeff. I mean, we did reach out to him about a year and a half ago or something like that. But there he is.
Nash.
Tom Nash as well. Thinking about, Tom Nash is the other guy you want to spend some time. Thanks, Jeff. Tom Nash is the other guy with 300,000 subs on YouTube. And I remember when he first started, I was like an early subscriber. I think he only had 15 or 20,000, and macro addict, investor, real estate, libertarian. Through my experiences, I try to help people increase their wealth and their freedom. He does a great job of that. But he put this tweet out saying, "This is from Ripple. If Nostro accounts are eliminated, the offsetting asset for the transfer of a liability, in parentheses, in quotes, money, would be XRP. Why would a bank hold an asset that had risk of being repriced against liabilities? If I received a USD liability, I would want a USD asset." No? Thoughts on that?
Yeah. This is really, interesting, because he's pointing out a couple different things. And it also kind of reminds me of these conversations that people have had early on about exit ramps. Everyone kept talking about the exit ramp. How are you going to take your money out of the crypto space, right? You want to take it out quickly, and there was a lot of conversation about, moving your money away from XRP, moving it away from digital assets, putting it back into fiat, and so this kind of reminds me of that, that debate and that argument, but from this perspective, also really interesting because, he's emphasizing this idea of getting rid of those accounts that are currently, packed, filled with fiat that sits stagnant. You think about how many millions upon millions and, millions of dollars just sitting there. And now you could utilize XRP, or really is referring to the ODL, the on-demand liquidity.
Correct.
Important.
Look at this here. So this is Sean Smith. He says, "Hi from Western Australia. Great to see someone like George Gammon starting to scratch the surface of XRP. I suspect that scratch will turn into a deep dive." Yeah, no doubt about that. And this is basically what he's showing. This is it right here, settlement through digital assets on XRP. And shows Bank A, the XRP ledger in the center. And then on the other side, it's got Bank B. And what it's showing here, the arrangement allows for the transacting banks to settle payments using XRP as a digital asset. XRP's reach into exotic corridors and average daily trading volume higher than most exotic currencies makes it an ideal bridge asset for selling transactions between banks. And this is kind of key too, Jeff, from something that's bubbling up too, which is some of the conflict we have going on with Russia and Ukraine, and also to what's happening with China and the SWIFT banking payment system. There's a lot going on. A lot.
It really is. It's all coming to a head right now. I mean, it's crazy. We got a lot of different articles and videos specifically highlighting, that fact, and we'll get into that later. But what he's talking about here and what's unfolding in real time right now, it's unprecedented. It's like we have this rush of everything that's happening in crypto and the movement to crypto. And we were looking, Chip, not that long ago, everyone kept referencing these black swan events. And, all of a sudden we went through 2 years of downturn and shutdowns, and we saw what now we're seeing, potential real life, reality black swan events that were just unanticipated that could fuel the growth in this space right now.
No, exactly. And George Gammon finishes it up saying that Ripple Net's similar to Fedwire and XRP similar to bank reserves, but cross-border and low fees because validators work for free, whereas legacy systems, the entities playing validator role charge high fees. He's got the right idea here. It doesn't, if you start like picking apart his words and everything he's saying, it doesn't really matter. I think the point of it is that he understands the broader concept of what's happening here.
It's a wake up, so people have an awakening when they become when they do finally wake up, they become extremely strong proponents of And so now we're starting to see that. Look at, exactly what happened to Gasparino and, Eleanor Tourette, in terms of,
Yeah.
when they started really getting into, wow, why is the SEC coming after Ripple? What's up with XRP? What was going on, with Clayton and Hinman? What was going on with Ethereum? And now you see Charles, or George Gammon's waking up to this idea that maybe the way banks were working before wasn't really accurate. So maybe there is a better way. Maybe
Oh,
Swift isn't the end all be all.
oh, absolutely. And if you let's pull this tweet up here. So Jim D says peasants are now woke to how vulnerable they are to fascist central banks and will flock to crypto. One, Canada's fascist confiscation of both dollar, money, and two, you got the G7 central banks blackmailing Russia via SWIFT. So, but again, this whole idea, and I actually find it really funny of some of the stuff that's going on out there. People you thought were champions in the past. It's so funny that when you get them on TV or you get them in an interview and you sit them down, start talking about it, and all of a sudden what do they love to do? Centralized control of everything. And we'll see some of that that's going on, especially with Christine Lagarde, once thought was a
Man,
champion, then started backing off a little bit, and then it's gone full fascist,
she's gone full nut job. She's
full
joining the
nutshell.
ranks with I think she's been sipping some of that or maybe she's smoking on the pipe with Elizabeth Warren. I think maybe there's something going on over there. Something going on. Yeah, they're
Right
not
here.
quite on the right oh, look at this. What do we got?
Yeah, go ahead and read that, Jeff.
What do we have? This from Parsa Persian. What's going on, Parsa? Glad you're commenting here. See, bank freeze, bank runs, and sanctions is showing the problem with SWIFT system and banking cartel. Even though crypto is owned by bankers, they're changing their face and remark themselves. And this is really interesting. Because we are beginning to see some breakdowns in the global brick and mortar banking infrastructure, and we're starting to see a massive awakening right now. And prior to what's happened recently, we saw El Salvador, and we've seen other countries that have said, hey, you know what, we want to take a little bit of self-control. We don't want to be reliant on the global handouts. We don't want to be reliant on what the IMF says or doesn't say. They don't want to be tied to the US dollar when they're a sovereign nation. They want to try to rely on themselves.
Yeah.
Then we've seen other countries that have moved into digital asset to protect themselves. And now we're seeing it from a whole different light. And so what you were saying, there's a lot of antagonists that are coming out against crypto because they know what's coming.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.